record? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the August 24th, 2020 council meeting to order at 7:02. Courtney, may I have a roll call?
David?
Here.
Melanie? Here. Craig?
Here.
Becky?
Here.
Jay?
Here.
Andy?
Here.
All is present?
David, would you like to lead us in prayer?
Lord, be with this village tonight, Lord, and touch the ones who've been hit with that terrible virus. And be with our children as they get ready to go back for a new school year, and help them through all the times of the health and all the issues we're having right now. And be with the council and our mayor tonight as we face issues, and give us the wisdom. In Jesus' wonderful name, amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda, we need to approve the minutes from the council meeting from August 10th, 2020, and a finance work session held on August 10th, 2020. I need a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Craig was first, Andy was second. Roll call? David?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
And I'll pass this around when we pass the other one.
I want to welcome everyone again. I am the President Pro Tem, Becky Martin. Mayor Darlington is unable to attend due to family emergency tonight, so let's keep her and her family in our thoughts. And she hasn't left any mayor comments, so I will move right on to the President Pro Tem comments. I wanted to let everyone know that the council is hard at work and deleting some errors and unclear messaging. We worked on them for almost an hour and a half. One of the new things that we did add to the rules of council was a new committee that we have formed. Safety committee will be comprised of 3 council members, myself, Mr. Petty, and Mr. Timmons, as well as 3 community members. The committee will encompass block watch, examining safety issues, traffic issues, policing, possible COVID issues, and more. I've reached out to a couple of community members who will be great assets to the committee. We do need 3 community members on this committee. If the ones I have asked accept the position, that's wonderful, but if you are someone that's interested in being on a committee, please reach out to myself or Courtney and she'll pass it along to me. We hope to have our first committee meeting prior to the next council meeting. So in the next week or 2, we hope to have that first meeting under our belt. Some other things I wanted to mention, we are all suffering under COVID, obviously the masks and the social distancing, but I did want to say that the FDA just authorized the use of plasma therapy in the treatment of COVID-19. This is a completely nonpartisan issue. Please, if you have had COVID, consider donating plasma. It literally could save a life if you do. And if you haven't had COVID, please consider donating blood. The American Red Cross still needs blood donations. And if you have been following COVID in Madison County and you've noticed a recent rise in the numbers, the Madison Messenger reported that Madison Correctional Institute just had a recent mass testing of inmates. And as of August the 12th, 114 new cases were uncovered through this mass testing. So that is a big part of why the numbers in Madison County may have grown. So don't get too alarmed. The health department is working with the Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections, trying to maintain limiting the spread into the community and within the prison. So, and then lastly, Schools for Madison Plains begins Monday. The buses will begin running, traffic will be heavier and slower. You get behind those buses and we all get frustrated. But please slow down and be patient. There's nothing more valuable than the lives of our little ones. Use extreme caution, especially in residential areas. Recently, we did have an accident involving a small child as a pedestrian in a car in a residential area, and don't know who was at fault in that. Just always be a defensive driver and slow down in those areas and use caution, especially now that school is underway. And I know I said lastly, but one other thing I wanted to mention before I close was, council members, you all have a copy of our Adopt a Pot program. Those were given to you by the Mount Sterling Chamber of Commerce, and the beautiful pots that line London Street were provided through different donations of local community members and the Chamber of Commerce, and we will be switching those pots over to fall flowers, and we're going to use it as a fundraiser for the Chamber of Commerce. So if you are interested, anyone, you can adopt it for your family's name, you can adopt it for your business, you can adopt it for a loved one that's passed on, and it'll be, have a little tag on it. So if you're interested in supporting the community, the beautification, and in supporting the Chamber of Commerce for local businesses, please give that a read. And if you're not, maybe just pass it along to someone that would be interested. And that is all I have today for President Pro Tem. And next, I want to move on to public comments and visitors. And first on the agenda, we have Mr. Danny Crawford of 239 Cliffview. Would you like to come up to a microphone and speak, Mr. Crawford?
Well, I think I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I welcome the opportunity to thank the members here for giving me the opportunity to publicly show my appreciation for the things that several people have done to help move the problem I've had for many years, at least the past two administrations, has to do with after heavy rain, my backyard flooding. And it could flood as much as this whole room, Mr. David Timmons can attest to, up to a foot deep and take several days to go down. The problem was on the village side of the fence. I had spent several years, probably $50,000 of my own money, doing things on my side of the fence and patiently waiting for someone to address the other side of the fence. And thanks to the members here, I want to thank the mayor and the mayor pro tem, and I want to thank the council and the administrator, Tom Hale. Don't lose him. He's did a good job. Very professional. He didn't promise me anything, but he said, I'll look into it and see what I can do for you, Dan, because it would appear you had a problem for a long time. And we're not quite through it. Some minor things. But I want to thank Jake Morrison, contractor, who made an effort, took his time, showed an interest in the project, maybe coming back for some things, I'm not sure. But I just wanted simply to give everyone credit. And some of the employees from Mount Sterling, I didn't know them personally. They were down there helping Jake on moving some stones and so forth. So it restores a lot of faith to what I have. But I thought the village should be acknowledged publicly for what you folks did. And I thank you sincerely. And I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford. We appreciate that. It's very nice. And we are glad to help you out. I'm glad we finally took care of that. And then next I have in the book, Ms. Joy Allen. Would you like to step up and speak into a microphone?
I'm okay.
Could you give your address, please, of your business?
25 South London, Custom Floors, the flooring store right next door.
Okay.
I just came in because I'm kind of hearing that there's some hearsay in regards to trying to restrict the semi-movement throughout the town. And like I said, it's hearsay. I was just a little concerned that maybe something was happening that we didn't know about because we get a lot of our product off semis. So I just wanted if you could address that.
Okay, I am going to turn that over to our streets chair, Andy.
The short answer is for most businesses, we will not see a change. We're having a problem with semis in residential areas and particular cut-throughs between big roads and being essentially residential streets being used for parking, for cut-through, for general traffic. And so it's causing us street maintenance issues as well as issues with basically residents who are out doing stuff. Can't park their cars, so there's a safety problem. So for where you are, downtown, no change at all. Yeah,
Thanks.
not a problem, not a problem. These are easy ones.
Thank you, Joy. Is that all you have?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so next on the agenda, we have no executive session tonight, and we'll move into department reports. And first up, we have our Sheriff Department report by Mr. Dill.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to be here. You guys have the report I handed out. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, there's no questions about that. The incident on Wingate, I can't really go into details, but it is an unfortunate incident. Due to somebody not paying attention, whether it was the driver or the child. But it's unfortunate, it happened, and we will be monitoring that area quite regularly now. So if anybody have any concerns about that, you can rest assured we're going to take care of that. With school starting, kids are going to be running early in the morning. It's going to be dark. Afternoons, they're going to be running. Traffic in Mount Sterling picks up anywhere from 5 in the morning, and it's very heavy till 7:30, 8 o'clock, and it picks back up at 3 o'clock, coming back, and it's very heavy while the buses are here. While I'm on patrol, I'm going to give fair warning to all the drivers. I'm not issuing warnings this year. No warnings. Everything will be a citation. So Mount Sterling's going to have to be on their P's and Q's during those busing hours. So we don't have any more unfortunate incidents. Also, I'd like to thank a couple residents. I'm not going to name them, but in 2 separate incidents, they were responsible for 2 arrests being made here in town. One was a drunk driver, and they took the initiative to call it in, follow him, and led the deputy right to him. And the other one was somebody that was out late at night, shouldn't have been, doing things they shouldn't have been. They had warrants, but it probably prevented something else from happening in the village. So that's what we need in Mount Sterling, is residents taking the initiative, stepping up, not getting on Facebook, but calling the sheriff's office.
Right.
We don't read Facebook while we're patrolling, so we're not going to see that. So thank you to them. And that's all I have.
Jack, that's why I like to hear, being connected with Block Watch, where they they're watching and being still and watching what's going around them. That's good, Jack, to hear that they're working hard at that.
Yeah,
And
and they're on
letting
the
the
phone
sheriff
with
do
us
it.
the entire time. That's what we want.
Exactly.
That makes our jobs easier, makes our town safer.
I had something real quick. It just popped in my brain, and it happens once in a while. So on Wingate, we'll just be honest, call us Wingate. I kind of brought it up to Courtney too. We do have, looks like, I'm sure that it was the past issue as well. Looks like homeless people are living out in the woods, like right across Deer Creek. I mean, do we go ahead and report that? How does that work? I mean, we can report it, but
If you see them walking out through there, they're trespassing.
well, they have clothesline and tarp, so it looks like they're making a little homestead out there.
They're
So
trespassing.
okay,
So whoever sees it needs to call us.
agreed.
If-
Okay,
If they don't look like they belong back here, if they don't live back on Wingate, they're on somebody's property. If they're on the street, that's village street, that's, they're not gonna sleep on the street.
right,
If they get off the street, off the sidewalk, they're on somebody's property, call it.
fair enough.
Jack, I did have a question for you too. Last council meeting, Deputy Sparks presented the report, and I brought up a big concern to her, and it's been a big concern pretty much my whole life where I live at the edge of Mount Sterling, and there's 4 edges obviously, but I was talking about the fact that it's 35 miles per hour all the way until you get outside of the corporation limits. And I've recently been painting on my fence, and I've been standing out there a lot, and people are just flying. I mean, flying, leaving town. It's worse than coming in. Coming in, they see the 35, and they think they hit the brakes or coming up the hill. But when they leave, when they get to Doc Brown's, they're already going 55, 60 already. And I had asked Deputy Sparks if there's any chance that we could get a little bit of heavy patrolling at the edges of town. Not just my edge of town. There's lots of edges of town, and the same problem exists at all of them. With and a real easy marker for those of you that are driving, they just repaved 62. And where the black starts, that's where you can start going 55. Where it's dull and dingy, that's Mount Sterling, and that's still 35. But it's sure not, it's sure not being adhered to. So I would love it to see, and again, if the presence was there, people might, habitually learn, I need to slow down because the police like to sit here or something, So I was wondering if we could get a little special attention at the corners of town.
And in your defense, this is a major, 62 is the major highway. I mean, we get some traffic on 56, but 62, that's where our points are. You come in this way, you only have to stop at the traffic light. You come back this way, you only have to stop at the traffic light. So they're mashing their gas. Last week, like I said, I was watching Main Street, West Main Street, and I do have a new radar unit, and I can kind of hide a little bit, but I'm in perfect plain sight. But you won't see me sitting on the road, you'll see me sitting in an alley, and I can clock you coming or going, so beware.
Yeah. Are you guys allowed to sit in a driveway if we say you can sit in our driveway?
Only if the resident allows us to.
You are allowed to sit in my driveway if you would like. So tell all the sheriffs.
Is that what they-
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so much,
you're welcome. Any other questions?
Mr.
Yes.
Crawford.
I should know this, but I don't. If you now give no warnings and you issue tickets, which I agree with, does the village get that money?
It depends on if I write it under state or if I write it under village. If I write it under village, the village gets a portion of the fine.
But to this point, in fairness, we haven't had any written under village.
Well, you will have.
Okay, perfect.
You got my word on that. You're going
Great.
to have some under village because if it's a first offense form or nothing in the last 12, it'll be under the village.
Okay.
If it's their second offense, I have to send it to municipal.
Great.
All right. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Guys,
Jack.
have a great evening.
Thank
Thank you very much. We appreciate all you do for the community.
Thank you.
And next on the agenda is Law Director. And we have no report tonight from our Law Director. Next is Utilities Clerk Misty Vance. I think she's talking out there. You're up. You want to come up and talk into somebody's...
Sure.
believe it or not, Courtney.
Not going right now.
Say some time for Courtney. So I just, the delinquents, we'll start with that. It's always the, you know, honor here, but, we're running at about 12,000. So we're about ready to do billing again. I'm trying to, I got it 2 days to, you know, hit the calls pretty heavy. Again, one thing I do want to mention briefly is that, there's an ordinance that we can make, the payment arrangements can be made up to 90 days. And so I had a couple people make comments that we're not working with them, but I think it's just maybe a lack of communication on our part, or I'm not sure, but I just want to let everybody know that council does work with people, and they've allowed 90 days with consistent payments before services have been shut off. Again, Madison County's there to help people with assistance. The money is there, and I encourage our residents to, if they need that, to call me. I can give them, give you their number. I can fax them over anything that they need from me. We will be billing towards the end of this week, and nothing new on the meters that we still have our meters. We're waiting on our software, so we'll be replacing approximately 100 meters just as time allows and as things are passed through council. But other than that, that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
I just have a comment for the public, real quick. For one, you're doing a great job. I know you're trying to deal with a lot of stuff. I've kind of been by the office and hear you work with the community.
appreciated.
I will say this to the community. Misty does not make the rates up. Misty does not decide what gets charged, what does not. She is the one taking the payment. She's the one that goes the extra mile to make sure we can work with you. So I say this to the residents who want to call and yell at her and talk to her like just a piece of trash. Shame on you. I know of a couple, and it's pretty frustrating that I know them personally, and knowing that they would treat Misty that way, that she's trying her best to help out the community. I know she gets a lot of crap on that phone. It gets mouthed off pretty bad, and I got to witness it. And so I appreciate you doing what you're doing, and you're still sticking with it and kicking butt. But folks, especially with the new meters coming out, it's free. They're just changing out your meter so it works. It can be accurate, and that's all they're doing. They're not trying to. There's no conspiracy here. So there's no conspiracy. I don't know. I just feel like we just need to defend a little bit, and I'm sorry that you had to be talked to the way you did, but I know you don't care. I know you're a softie, but same time, you're doing a great job. And the community needs to realize that, we're trying to help them out. I know we've been dealt a stupid, rough hand, but I think we're doing our best to make this easier and work on it together as a team and as a community. So again, thank you.
That's right, Team Us.
This young lady, though, I've seen her, she's willing to help them any way she can. Even when it'll be red in the face, you're still wanting to help. And I got to compliment George and Aaron. I watched them work on a water leak. And they would jump in that hole in that water. And people don't think them guys work hard. Them guys were covered with mud and doing their job. And I got to compliment Courtney. Courtney would be down there and she'd be seeing what they're doing. And when I say we get our great crew and all over the water. Everybody does a fine job.
Right. And it is also a good note that the delinquents have been cut in half from last council meeting.
Yes, big time. Yeah.
Yeah. So good
We had a
job.
record amount of payments come in last month. So
Great job. And again, I agree with Jay. It's probably a lot to do with the way you handle people and how you're so gracious and helpful. So we appreciate it.
thank you, I appreciate that.
You're very well.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Misty.
And next on the agenda is zoning and building, Tom Hale.
Mr. Hale.
We haven't had too much change from last time. We did get a call from an architect. We have a potential commercial project coming, a small one, coming to downtown. He didn't release too much information to me. He wanted to know the village's process and procedure and permit fees and things like that, and I gave it to him. He said he would be submitting electronically, which means he won't come to the village, and that's the new wave of building permits, is everybody send them electronically, and we process them and send them back that way. So that's probably the biggest call we had. Other than that, it's just steady. We're not setting any records, and we're not sitting on our hunches either, so doing all right. Any questions?
Is there any, because a lot of people have asked just around the community, when, maybe any updates on the second phase and then behind the old IGA, like the progress, do we have any estimated, I know it's kind of been on hold for a little while,
The
but
last dialogue that Courtney and I were exposed to was the process of the PTI and where it is, and I have not seen a return dialogue on that.
I've not either.
PTI is,
Permit to install for
Okay, thank you.
water. And
Is that on the Beachy property or the second, phase 2?
phase 2.
Okay.
Yeah. That I do not know that the Beachy Properties PTI has been submitted. As a matter of fact, I don't think it has.
Right.
So
Okay.
that phase 2 would be further ahead. So, and again, we haven't seen a response. I think the response out of the state's going to be slow based on what we've been involved in. So I don't know any time, I guess, but her and I both keep a close eye on that. And
Tom, has there been any news on the housing project that's supposed to be going on eventually?
that's the one we're
That's
just
what
talking
it is.
about.
That's what we're
Yes,
talking
yes,
about.
is it still in process then before they can really?
As far as we know, it is. There's been a request to the state, and we haven't seen a response.
Okay.
That's for the water,
Okay.
okay? But I think nothing on the Beachy property yet, so. And then the commercial property, I expect that in the next time I see you, I'll probably have to be able to tell you where it is, who it is, what's going on. But he was reluctant to share that information until he got further along with his plans. So,
great.
okay,
Great, thank you.
anything else? Any questions? Okay.
Good. Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Thanks.
Thank you. And next up is the fiscal officer and the clerk of council, Courtney Bricker, to give us all of our financial updates.
Yes. Okay, and I won't take long like what Missy said, that I talked to. Okay, so the reader report, again, council received these packets on Friday, August 21st. I did not hear back from any questions or anything like that. Again, pretty standard from the last time that we met, because our last council meeting, it covered for the month of July. This council meeting is covering from the 1st of August until the 21st of August. So not a lot. Again, some of this is probably repeat, so I won't go through all of it. But I do want to share with Arita reports that you guys have it here in front of you. And the acceptance that we received here on the 15th of August was a total of $15,162.02 is what was received on here. And again, I talked about it last time, there has been no update in regards to the collection of the income tax. Hopefully I will have that with, they do send it out monthly, so I'm probably due to get another one and would share it on the finance committee when we have that meeting. Again, payment listings, everything's pretty much general. This one has not changed since the last time we met because I do process the checks on the council meetings. So again, there's no checks that have been updated or sent out. I do have some that have been sent out. 18 of those I have sent as of today. So again, this report does not reflect that. Again, the report that you see here in front of you for receipt listings is again a standard report that you normally get. Again, you will start to see some of those from like what we talked about before, some variances that'll come through, so you will actually see residents' individual names on here for permits that they are being assessed for requests that they have. So you'll see some of those names on there. Cash summary by fund looks that everything is in the positive and in good standing. Revenue status, again, everything is actually on revenue status. Everything is above what's been budgeted, which is good. Comparison of budget and appropriated is in the positive. Everything looks good on there. Is there any questions so far? Okay, and appropriation status is a big, a good report that I like to see of what's been expended, and we are right where we're supposed to be on expenditures. And everything looks good on there. 50% in the water, which is below what was budgeted of expenditures, and 48% in the sewer, which is below. Again, I do want to remind the public that we will have a financial commission committee meeting that's going to take place tomorrow at 10 o'clock. There, again, it's a virtual, which means that it's through Microsoft Teams. And what that means is all the information is online and you can dial into that. There is a phone number and a conference number if you wish to hear what's going on. Usually those meetings last about 15 to 20 minutes. Again, minutes are taken, so if anybody would like to have an update on what was spoke about, I do write minutes for those. Again, 10 o'clock, and the dial information is online. It will not be held in person due to COVID. Any questions?
Just one comment, because this is an off-cycle, I wouldn't say necessarily off-cycle, but this is a slightly odd financial update, because we're a long month, but you've given a shorter. All of the information, though, is still available on Ohio Checkbook,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So that is ohiocheckbook.com, and any resident can go out and look at any snapshot and point in time.
Yeah. Okay, and with that said, Ms. Martin, I would like to ask for your blessing for a motion to approve the appropriation status report, the revenue status report, the receipt listing report, payment listing report, comparison of budget and appropriated, the cash summary by fund report, and the REIT report.
Yes, can I have a motion to approve the financial
You have that
reports?
motion?
Second.
Jay, okay, David was first, Jay was second.
Yep.
Roll call. David?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Okay, and if I may circulate this around to obtain your signatures, please.
And next, we are going to move on to our committee reports. And the first report is myself with the Finance Committee. And I have nothing new to report since our last meeting. Our next meeting will be held Wednesday, September the 2nd at 2 o'clock, and that is open to the public. Next will be Pleasant Township, Melanie Fritz.
I have nothing to report, and I'm gonna have to find out when the next meeting is, because I believe it's all from holidays, so.
Okay. And then next is the squad, Jay Petty.
All right. Making sure I'm getting my notes here. All right. So for the squad, we did meet at the first Wednesday of this month. So that would have been, I don't know what day that is. But we did meet 8 o'clock over at the squad house. Just a couple little things. Let's see here, just looking at the notes here. We are researching a software that's going to be very beneficial for our teams. They have one currently, but it's kind of dated and it freezes up a lot, but also they can lose all their information. Luckily, they have a cloud, but then they have to go to the company and have to, just a whole process. And so Chief Taylor's looking at new software that's going to be very beneficial. So that's going to be great. So we're kind of letting him dig on that a little bit. Let's see here. Our squad was actually awarded a $1,000 PEP grant for supplies and things like that. It is very specific what they can spend it on, but it's still kind of cool that again, Chief doing a great job of kind of digging into grants and whatnot to help out our teams. We are looking into if it's benefit to have a portable maintenance guy, because normally what happens if something happens to our truck or a truck is that the truck would have to go to a shop out of town, and then that shop's out of commission. But it also takes a worker or two, away from the town as well. So if we do have an emergency, we have a truck out, and so we're looking at the possibility of having a maintenance guy that's more portable to come to us, so that way it's a little more easier and faster that way. So we're seeing that matches up. Let's see. Building maintenance. So we're actually looking at hopefully revamping that building up a little bit outside and inside. This obviously has weather damage per se on the outside. Inside there are some cracks and weird gaps between the walls and ceilings. It's not that old in a building, but it just looks like it's just kind of. It looks like there's more age to it than what there is. It's like drywall damage, insulation, stuff like that. So Chief is looking into that, and then maybe starting that process here soon. That's kind of basically what's going on, just kind of upkeep and just kind of looking at different things to kind of help our team work a little more efficient our partnering townships. Everything's been good for squad-wise, so great team, great board to work with. And the next meeting is September 9th, 2020, at 8 o'clock at the Squad House. That's all I got to report.
Okay, can I interject real quick? Okay, so I'm getting some of the, some text here that, the recordings, and that doesn't seem like it's recording or picking up people's voices and stuff. So I do ask the public that if they would like to have any minutes or any questions on this meeting, to please reach out to myself and I can inform them, but, if people go back and rewind this, it doesn't, the recording must not be sound, and I don't want to stop it in the middle of the meeting, so, just in case people are having that.
Okay.
Thank you, Jay. Next is fire, Mr. Hicks.
Our meeting is this Thursday, August the 27th, 8 o'clock.
Okay, next is water and wastewater, Mr. Hicks again.
We didn't have a meeting this month, we had to cancel it, so we decided just wait till September the 9th, Wednesday, and have it then.
What time's your meeting?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock? All right, great. Next is streets, Mr. Drake.
We did not have a meeting in between the last council meeting and this one. We looked at the calendar, rescheduling. Realistically, at this point, we're going to go ahead and aim for the first week in September, as we normally do. Those meetings are at 8 o'clock in the morning, if anyone would like to come out for that. The only thing to note on the streets this time is to recap that we're in line for repair work on State Route 56 North London Street. That is scheduled. We're a little bit behind due to weather. Again, we're working on signage, so if individuals find a stop sign, street sign of any kind, any other sign that is the village's responsibility for whatever reason, we haven't taken care of yet, we'll work on that if you just let us know. And then finally, we're still working on and we'll be considering estimates around speed bumps and the installation of speed bumps and where those would be appropriate. So we're all ears, and we've already had one request from residents on North High Street, which we sparked the initial conversation, getting the original estimate, and then we'll be looking into it anywhere else that makes sense.
Can I provide an update too?
Oh, yes, that'd be great.
So the pothole is on South London Street here,
Mhm.
on 56, that is actually getting repaired tomorrow.
Excellent.
So it
That's
will
what we
be
like.
taken care of tomorrow.
So if you see folks out digging things up, please slow down on 56.
There will be traffic.
There will be traffic calming devices and people. Thank you.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation, Melanie Fritz.
I got nothing new to report. We are having our next meeting September 2nd at 4 o'clock. And I'm hoping we can do something fun for the fall, maybe Halloween, hopefully we can have trick or treat, do something fun for the kids, trick or treat. So we're gonna work on that September 2nd, 4 o'clock.
Great. And record of retention, Andy Drake.
No update on this one.
And nuisance and abatement, Mr. J. Petty.
All right. All right, we just had a 17th, we had a little meeting there to kind of talk about ordinances and fee schedules. Some of them were kind of dated, also the wording was kind of weird, but also we want to understand how the fees were working with, if your grass is too high, basic stuff like that. So after having a full meeting, we came down to actually coming together and realizing this needs to be sent to our solicitor to kind of help clean it up, understand what's going on, and he will respond back to us soon, unless he has. Courtney, I should have asked you that. Not yet. Okay. So we are waiting for his response on that, because there was a good handful. We did actually get the book out, and it's a good-sized book. So we'll be going through that our next meeting, which will be September 2nd at 3. We did talk about, just kind of quickly talked about discussing another community cleanup day, probably early October, kind of let, obviously summer's over, then like school's kind of getting settled, or we kind of hope school's getting settled of what's going to happen. So hopefully by that point, whatever school's going to do, they made up their decision by then. So we're kind of trying to see what we can do, maybe a little different, maybe a little more community friendly, maybe a central dumpster. I mean, just different ideas. This is not what's planned, but trying to be creative here. Maybe get the township involved. I know that's a far stretch, especially, yeah, I'll stop there. But reach out to our township for, kind of some things they can help us with to help with our community. Let's see here. We did have our position open for the ordinance. I can't think of the official title for
Code
some reason.
enforcement.
Code enforcement officer. Thank you. The individual we interviewed was great. However, reflecting on just personal life and stuff, that it wasn't going to work out. So that position is still open. But with that, I would like to see if I can make a motion to repost this position for 2 weeks. It's an I-99, 10 hours a week, $15 an hour.
$10.99,
$10.99, so I say I-99.
10 hours a week, at
Yep.
$15 an hour,
Yes.
and posted on the website.
Website, yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, so Jay placed the motion, Andy was second.
Roll
And I'd
call.
like to do a roll call. David?
Yes.
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Okay, I will be posting that tomorrow.
Awesome, thank you. Trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think there was, since I think we're pretty good there, correct?
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you.
And last but not least, a report from David Timmons on Blockwatch, which, as I mentioned earlier, will be absorbed into the Safety Committee, probably starting at the next meeting, but
I'm looking forward to that when we can, I think that'll be great to have everybody, we can all work as a unit, that'll be great. And I'm looking forward to that, so whenever we have that meeting, but I do have a tip for everybody, which I always do. Senior citizens in this village is getting a call saying their social security checks has not come through, and we need a bank account numbers. Slam the doggone receiver in their ear or not answer the phone. All they're after is your ID and your number, and another one is the DAV. The disabled veterans will not call you up for money. I'm a Legion commander, know this for a fact, so just ignore that call too. That's just two of the scammers that's out there, so we just gotta be prepared for. That's all I have to report there.
thank you, David. And next is our Clerk of Council, Courtney, with ordinances and resolutions.
Okay, ordinance 2020-05, an ordinance accepting the 2021 estimated entitlement for the local government support fund. This is the second reading. Again, all three of these types of legislation were explained in the last meeting. But again, just to reiterate, this 2021 estimated entitlement is what we're to be expected for 2020. So this is a standard ordinance. It will be placed on the second reading. Can I have a motion to accept that?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, first was Jay, next was Craig. Roll call. David?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2020-05 has been passed on the second reading. Next is ordinance 2020-06, an ordinance to repeal section 1271.07.03 of the Village Codified Ordinance entitled Accessory Structures. This is on the second reading. May I have a motion?
You have that motion?
Seconded?
David was first, Andy was second. Roll call, David?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Okay, motion has been passed on the second reading for ordinance 2020-06. Last resolution is ordinance 2020-07, an ordinance to amend section 1281.03 of the Village Codified Ordinances entitled General Requirements for All Structures in All Districts. This is on the second reading. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Craig was first, Melanie was second. Roll call. David?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Craig?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-07 has passed. And again, I want to reiterate to the public, that we do have some recording issues, so if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I know there's been some issues on Facebook already, so.
Okay, with all the ordinances and resolutions behind us, it is time for roundtable. First, I'd like to ask if the public has any new comments or questions after hearing the meeting. Okay, we do have one question, and again, your name,
Danny Crawford,
okay?
I'm impressed.
Huh.
I haven't been to a council meeting for a few years. And that was because I made a choice not to attend. I got tired of all the disagreements, and the way they were handled or not handled. I'm shocked.
In a good way.
In a good way.
I'm giving everyone credit here. You were professional. You were aware of things. It went very smoothly. Impressed is not a good word. Shocked is better. I'm very serious. I'm very serious, and I thank each one of you for that. I had intended to say my spiel and take off, and I just was so surprised I couldn't leave. So, thank you for your effort. Now I can leave.
Thank you very,
Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
Danny, thanks for the compliment. Like I said, that's great.
Okay, council, do you have anything for roundtable?
I'd like to bring up, I'm still working with, I did get a call from Chicago, and we may have a magazine article about our World War II and all that stuff out there at the monument. I'm still in the process. I haven't got all the details. As soon as I do, I will. So maybe we'll all get our picture in a cover or something, so let's hope.
Great. I have one thing. I just want to take a moment to tell the community that this coming Saturday, we have a shop hop. And 6 local businesses on downtown businesses are participating, as well as 2 food trucks and a couple of outdoor vendors. It's been a long time since we've been able to have any type of event. This is completely COVID compliant. So we ask that you come out and try to win a prize. There's lots of sales, snacks, and support your local businesses. We really appreciate that. So again, I just want to welcome everybody out to the Shop Hop Saturday from 10 to 2. And that is this coming Saturday, the 29th, right? Yeah. Okay, does anyone have anything else? All right, it is 7:50 and we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Did I do that?
Over lunch.